So I just playing a couple, well, tournament and then a sit and go, and then possibly another tournament right now. No, there isn't one that I want to play. So let's see what happens. So I've seen this pretty cool thing, this survival hack. This is a lot of viewers are probably guys. But if you go hiking, just take a Ziploc bag. And if you, with the Ziploc bag, when you find water, should you need it, like the Ziploc bag takes very, very little weight, right? You could use, you put water in the bag and you could use that as a magnifying glass to start a fire. Very, all these, well, if you're going hiking, anything on off country, like off the paved road type of non-paved road type of environment, right, on the trails, right? You want to make sure that you could potentially make a splint, a tourniquet, right? Because these scenarios are, you could be could be injured, right? Like, to make it hard for you to get rescued, right? So you don't want to venture too far. If you find power lines, you want to follow power lines. But at the same time, be careful, because you're going to run into animals. So be loud. Right, because animals, they're smart too. They don't want to walk through trees and brush and have to walk slow. They like to walk along the power lines, right? So if you're at a, just say you come to a crossroad, a T, and where you can't go straight anymore, and you're not sure if you go left or right, just look for the dirt on the road. The dirt should tell you whether or not you turn left or right. You can see how most cars turn right or left at that scenario, because there's going to be more dirt on one side. So the side that doesn't have much dirt, like, that's the people that have probably live on the outskirts of town, and then the one that has all the dirt that leads you right to town. And then if you're in town and you need to navigate, like, use the sun. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west, so kind of use that as your compass. and mentally count every time you're turning left or right. Like, don't orientate yourself. So every time you turn left or right, say, be like, okay, am I going northeast, south, or west? Then you do it so often that you don't even have to think about it after a while. You know, if the sun's over your left shoulder, then you're facing north. So it's like, great, Smarter Chris, you're telling us some myth crystal-like things. What do you see when it's cloudy? Well, you look for moss or on trees on the north side of the tree. Or you don't move. You don't move, and it depends on how hungry you are, really. You have some time. Water is the most critical thing, right? So you want to make sure you have bottled water with you, and then you have the Ziploc for the magnifying glass fire starter. And so basically, it'd be depending on the time of the day. Like, say if you still have your cell phone battery, then you know, try to find range. Like maybe walk to the top of the hill. I wouldn't be trying to climb trees and some of the things that they necessarily suggest in some survival scenarios, like on TV, because it depends on your experience climbing a tree. So that being said, if you see a hill, and you get to the top, if you're like, oh, I'm going to go to the hill and then I'm going to be able to see, chances are you're going to there's going to be a bunch of trees until you get to a cliff where you can see. So you just got to be careful, right? You don't want to venture too far. Gotta make. They tell you to make. As a kid, we took a field trip. They told us to make friends with a tree. Dig the ground a little bit and stay warm by the tree, and then build temporary shelter. So they had us. We were in grade 6, so they had us build temporary shelter for the night and. Be rescued, right? You don't want to venture too far, so maybe you have flares. Like if you're doing like Red Bull type hiking, way off the grid, right? Then tell people your plan. Always tell people your plans. Like if you're like, hey, I'm going fishing. Maybe if it's your favorite fishing spot, right? Like that's kind of tricky. Like this is why some people get lost, right? Because they don't want to tell the coordinates of their favorite fishing spot. But they should tell their wife or significant other, be like, hey, here's the GPS coordinates where I'm fishing. So if you don't hear from me, most likely it's the battery of the phone or the water, what have you. But here's where a good spot to be looking. And then in that scenario, I would probably use my cell phone, like, and even say in the message, be like, I'm, if you have the cell phone, be like, hey, I'm going to conserve the batteries. Here's where I am. I'm likely to be. I'll turn on my phone first thing in the morning at sunrise, right? Because if you're in the bush, you're going to be waking up so the sun is strong enough, basically. Unless you wanted to sleep in and anticipated. But we're kind of designed to. That's why we have poor night vision. We're designed to sleep shortly after dark. That could have almost been a very nice flop. I thought I had the 6 was an 8. No instant calls, so he probably doesn't have the 7-10. Well, they say you could go without water for 3 days and food 3 weeks. So I guess, well, if you're an avid hiker, you should have have the Ziploc or a couple of them, right? Because if in case it rips after a while, be in mode for a while, and then all of a sudden your plant goes south, right? Because Mike Tyson would say every plant, something to this akin, something like this. Every plant. The plan is good on paper right up until you get punched in the mouth. Right. Then how does your strategy help you at that point? Yeah, if you're just hiking, definitely wear some high visibility. Definitely something that's reflective on you with a flashlight. If there's flashlight, gonna catch the eye like diamonds, right? So high visibility orange or the white reflective, shirts that you could get. Okay, so let's see. I think they have very little. How about this move? Ruby fly. How did you like that? I can't even tell how much they have. It looks like they have about 5,000. I got to crack my screen so all I can see is 507. I can't see the better. Nice. Got them to fold the best hand. No, maybe not the best hand. The better hand would be the correct way to say that, because the best hand was probably better than top pair. Would have been 2 pair or 3 of a kind. That's there. At that point. How about this ruby fly? Oh, kings. Well, it's good because it looks like he's only getting the 296, so I get the 581. Unless I get lucky. No, the other way. That sucked. That sucked. That the app had it that way. I'm still kind of new to this app. Gonna call here. Okay, let's see. I want to play a hand in this tournament, but not really getting much, so I'll focus on this and go. So there's four of us left here, so this person's sitting out, so I'm not even gonna play until they're out of the tournament. I just need to wait 4 hands, and then I'm in the money. So I'm gonna do the most prudent thing, unless I get a spectacular hand. That's just good strategy. Because sometimes you might reach a certain level chip-wise in a big tournament, and then if you were to sit out after that point, you would have finished high. Just they would have to blind you off. If you're a chip leader and there's like 40 opponents or less, and you're like, you say have 2 or 3 times the average stack, then you probably are going to finish in the final table, not even more hands. You just left the tournament. You didn't give yourself an opportunity to make a mistake in the future, basically. Like, so it depends, right? Like, feel it out, right? Like, I would constantly keep checking it in the future, right? Like, just say every 5-10 minutes, just see how you're doing or whatever, right? But based on the blind structure, if you did the math, figured it out on the blind structure, they have to make a lot of rotations before you have to invest yourself 2 hands out of every 9 when you're the chip leader, right? So it could be a good strategy sometimes. But you should be playing to try to go for the win. You gotta learn, you gotta be hungry, right? Some people have that finishing killer instinct in a tournament, so you want to develop that. Right, there's a lot of people, as soon as they think they're in the money, they're like, okay, that's good enough for me. And it's like, I don't have those type of players, right? Because I don't have to compete against them anymore, because eventually they gave up. You just want to kind of pump your own psychology up, your brain, and know how to motivate yourself and rationalize yourself, take chances, and then be harsh enough with yourself as necessary to learn. That's why we have pain, right? To teach us to move faster or be more cautious. Or to offset the cost of such a beautiful experience like childbirth. Because they say there's no pain, no gain, right? So that means, a lot of professionals. Let's say if you're an Olympian and you win gold, you know how much effort they put in. You know how many times their friends were like, "Hey, do you want to go do something fun?" And they're like, "No, I'm gonna practice. I gotta practice." They tried the hardest, right? They got rewarded, right? They have their natural talents and genetics, and then how much effort they put in. Whoever tries the hardest at a certain level, right? Like if it's a sport where it's a thousandth of a second, right? Then whoever put in the most effort, right? Being able to anticipate the clock, right? Just the most repetitions and being able to start it. Whatever your skill set, you want to work on your skill sets, right? Because you can't work on everything, because then you're just going to be mediocre. Eliminate as many weaknesses and then focus mainly on your skill sets. Like in poker, most people's skill set is to maximize their winnings. Yeah. They don't even think about minimizing their losses. Right? So you have to think, outside the box from another person's perspective and try to maybe be empathetic, and it helps yourself in the long run. Because in poker, you're always going to be in another person's shoes in a different scenario. Like with the pair versus the pocket queens. And so then, like the high pocket pair that lost to an average hand, and the next time I play an average hand, like the odds are more likely in my favor that it should work as a wash, shouldn't it? That's how come they know 72,293 hands for the average straight flush. Even though if you started playing poker, it could be 10 hands, and then you hit a straight flush. That means you probably would have to play another 140,000 hands plus before you hit your next straight flush. That's how math works. Math is unforgiving if you're a donkey. That's a common term that people call people. Well, any online game is like you're a noob, you're a donkey, you're a fish. Those are common terms. Every once in a while, you'll see somebody that has a donkey avatar. So if somebody has a donkey avatar, they're basically saying, I think I'm a good poker player, and most players are donkeys. Okay, so those were instant checks. So my opponents didn't make a pair, so they would have to have made a pair on the river, and it's unlikely that they hit the 10s. So to get the fold, they showed zero interest on the flop and even less interest on the turn. So this person's waited for a while, so I'm gonna give them respect. I haven't really seen them play too much. They could be making the Hail Mary move because they hit their big blind hand. So that's a decent hand, King 10. You kind of have to run with that. They're not the favorite, but they might get lucky here. The Jack Ace has to hit one of the 3 remaining 10s now. Instead, normally we'd have 4, but he only had 3 because the guy had the 10. So I do want to play, okay, in the lobby here. So I guess while I'm here, I'm going to see how many finish in the money. 10 finish in the money. There's 83 entries and 56 players eliminated. So back to the lobby, going to City Gold. I don't have over 5,000 chip sheds, so I will go on this one. Well, here we go, pocket queens. Let's see if I'm lucky.
Oh my God, Darren. Have a good day. You too, Darren.
But in poker, they say you never want to go all in with a queen in your hand, but maybe that's why I'm saying. Let's see what happened. So you hit the ace, that's gratifying. Best case scenario. That was unfor 2. This was the best way that I just said that. So finished 5. So now, is there a new tournament in 6 minutes? There is. This one, I don't know what FL Hold'em is, but I think it's a variation of limit Hold'em, but it's even more restricted than limit Hold'em. It's not really fun to play because I don't go all in too often, but when I do, I love the decisiveness of an all-in in Texas Hold'em poker. Because as a tournament poker player, I try not to go all in until I'm the chip leader, and then I try to be very aggressive at that point. And then if I'm then I'm just kind of picking my spots, counter punching. But if I'm the chip leader, then I'm just non-stop aggression. Because Texas Hold'em poker favors aggression. Because really all you're trying to do is break their will to win, right? I'm just going to pause this for a second. For me to thaw out, it's still winter's kind of clinging on the last day of February here in Canada. Some people are detrimental to the process of dialogue, right? Like so every country should have people that are better at negotiating, and they're communicating and understanding ulterior motives and plans, and be able to gain the best possible outcome from in their own individual circumstances. Just like in poker, right? You get it. Everybody has different cards, so you have to play them accordingly. Like a lot of times, like you don't want to be playing with Queen 7, but sometimes it's the winner. So if you have a Queen 7 hand, like just say your life is a Queen 7 hand and other people are like pocket aces, with a Queen 7 hand you gotta try harder than other Queen 7s. Most Queen 7s in Texas Hold'em poker, people fold them, right? But they do win hands, especially if you bluff, right? You increase your chances in this analogy by practicing so much that your experience becomes instinct to make the best possible decision. Even identical twins, right? Like if motivated and one was unmotivated, the one could have got at like 45 and the other one could be shredded. So the one that's shredded clearly sees the initiative more often than the one that had a gut, no longer seeing their penis. Just to be funny, Smarticus, did you say that? Fucking right I did, guys. To all the real birds, as if I could hear them. I don't know why they call it. I guess they call them railbirds if they're overall they're called railbirds for some reason. But railbirds should be the hecklers, right? Because the rail should be your fans. Should be the ones like if they love poker, they should be. Sure, they're rooting for one player to win, granted, but they should just appreciate amazing gameplay at a certain level when you see them do it consistently. Like you see the top pros on TV and what they do is like I guess I would like to watch an all-day marathon, like because it'd be live, right? So it'd be maybe with a clock to make it a little bit quicker, almost like a timer that we're used to playing online, and basically see how they played live over a period of time, like maybe a single, I guess, rather than an actual tournament. Because it's when you watch the pros on TV and tournaments, like they edit, right? So there's lots of times that you don't see how they only show the highlights, basically, right? The maximum appeal for viewership, right? Whereas if you watch somebody like myself, right, like you see the grind of poker, right? So you need to kind of, like, if you want to be a poker pro, right, like, sure, watch the pros on TV, like any of that you see on TV, because you're going to learn some of the most sophisticated newest moves. But at the same time, you also want to watch somebody, say, like myself, or that shows you how to grind the in and outs of poker. Because you don't really see 5e playing 5e, right? Right, or some of the hands that I win with in tournaments. Like the last tournament that I won with over 1,000 opponents, I filmed the entire video, or the entire tournament as well. But for some reason I didn't upload it, and then I somehow, whenever I upload to YouTube, I make like copyright, not copyrights. I make, well, I guess it would be copyright, but like just say a song's playing, I'll just start singing the song because I'm by myself, right? I'm entertaining myself at the same time as I'm making these videos that hopefully people find entertaining. Right? So if I hear a song, I'm gonna be like, gonna be super sarcastic mode or whatever I do, right? Just have fun, make myself laugh. If I was watching, all I do, because I love watching what I do over. Like saying, like in 5 years from now, when I watch these videos from now, I'm gonna laugh at myself. I'm gonna think I'm an ass at times. That's just how it goes. In a good way, though. A funny us. Sometimes. And then I did have a grandfather who, his words sometimes were like a surgeon's scalpel. Right, so that's the English language. So I did have sales jobs, and what they tell you is it's the tone of, it's not really what people say, it's their tone of voice and their body language. So that's human psychology, right? So once you understand that about people, and then if you kind of learn from this analogy, like sometimes you have pocket aces in scenarios, and then other times you have seven deuce in poker, meaning when you have pocket aces, you gotta be like, okay, well, how would I feel if I had the seven deuce in this scenario? And right? And then when you have seven deuce, it's like, seven deuce is not always a loser. Right? So So you got to make the most of your circumstances. Learn from yesterday's wins and losses. Enjoy the current moment while you're planning for more wins and losses going forward in the future. Well, more wins, less losses in the future. You wouldn't be planning for losses, but you'd be planning for ideally opportunities, but seizing opportunities. But unfortunately, we don't always seize the opportunities in life, right? Like, I'm currently homeless now, but I made a decision at 19 years old when I was offered to try out for, basically what happened was I went to this place in Toronto where there was, maybe 1,000 of us that were trying to get selected for this modeling opportunity. So I got selected, and the next step was to go to New York, and 50 different agencies would try to sign you, or ideally, right? But I never took that opportunity, right? I didn't. Some of the people I was talking to at that time, I was a little too muscular, and they wanted me to change things about my diet and stuff like that, and I just wasn't gonna be untrue to myself, right? Like when I worked out, like it was like, I worked out to be able to eat what I wanted, basically. I mean, like, so I would never count calories, because like that added stress of counting calories, right, could be detrimental to your overall health long term. Then just eating a little bit, having pizza one day, and then going to the gym and working it off. So that's kind of the approach that I had, was just, if I ate a little unhealthy, then I would just go to the gym and sweat it off. The next time, I made sure every time I went to the gym, I left sweating if I didn't take a shower. So I pretty much worked cardiovascular 100% of the time I went there. That was the first thing I would do, is I would work out on the elliptical, because elliptical is easy on your knees, in your hips, and your back, and it's good for your cardiovascular. So I do that for 20-25 minutes, and then I would start working out. Then I would try to lift as much tonnage as I could. I would just add up all the weights, like whatever I was lifting, and then how many reps I was doing, and then just do the math, and then just try to improve that number every time. Then it got to a point where I didn't even need to go to the gym anymore to achieve the results that I was happy with, and I just needed to do 10 chin-ups several times a day, and then I had the ideal physique for myself, and then I injured this little muscle, and then I couldn't do chin-ups, and I got out of working out, which was unfortunate. Because around the same time, I left my active life, so I went from all my time being basically family time to when I didn't have kids, being free time without family, basically. Right, so I just started working on skills. So I, started watching YouTube, and I'd watch classes, courses that I wanted to take, and at the college or university level, and so I'd watch Harvard and Stanford classes and kind of educate myself, right? Because if you go to school, you got the paper, right, to get the job, but if you have the knowledge, right, then you're an entrepreneur, like in spirit, like I am, then that's all you need. I dropped out of university. An accounting teacher was talking about cost versus benefit. I'm like, well, I'm an entrepreneur. Like, I want to, like, I took every business course offered in high school, and there's 14 of them, all 14 of them, and So I knew this about myself, and so I took accounting because, in high school, my highest marks were marketing and accounting. And so I'm like, okay, like I went into marketing because I thought it was advertising. I wanted to write slogans and stuff like that, but it was more of the management element of it. Like I took the business marketing management program, so it's teaching me how to be the boss basically, and understanding patterns and all that stuff, supply and demand and economics and statistics and what have you. And then I went to university and taking that accounting class, learning the cost versus benefit. It was like, so sure, like the cost of getting a degree was about $50,000, and the benefit would have been able to get a job, right? But if you're an entrepreneur, then I'm like, well, why would I want $50,000 worth of debt when I could use that towards a business? So then I dropped out of university. But at that time, I didn't realize not having a good education limited my economic prospects to get a job. Right, so you do need education to at least get a good job, to be able to fund your side hustle, which could be a business, which you could eventually be employed full time. Like I thought I joined that tournament, but so 5 out of 6 left. There's more on this app. There's more financial incentive to win the sit and go than the actual tournament almost. They do have a heads up option, like a aspect on this app. So like if you're new to poker, you might as well download Club WPT because you can play 9-handed cash games, and then you can play heads up to find your skill or try new strategies. Because the cash game, like, especially like if you but I guess you can probably do it and not cheat, right? But if you just say you had a buddy or whatever, right? You could be like, hey, let's go play some Club WPT. We'll go play heads up. You join, and then I'll join, and then you can play, right? Because then, especially if you play cash games against this opponent, then you'd be able to learn how they play certain scenarios in cash games, right? So it would help you long term in poker, right? Because the goal, nobody plays poker to lose. Right? Playing poker, you're trying to get a competitive edge without cheating, ideally, for people. Right? I hate cheats. That's why I go by the name Any Cheat Man 1. Because I'm Any Cheat Man, and I won by that revelation, being this sensation. In my mind. Anyways. Okay, let's see. Somebody does have the king most likely, and I'm unlikely to be the winner by the end. Somebody had 10s, 3 of a kind, 5s. It's looking like a good fold, even better fold. Unless I had a diamond, no diamond. So the only thing about that is, I don't think anybody got busted. I was kind of looking away. the thing isn't updated right now. I only see 4 opponents and it's saying 5 people left. Like there's 4 of us. Not 4 opponents, there's 4 players. I love a crow sound like they're laughing at us. I just wanted a hand, but 6-3 was a better spot. And this isn't it. Now I gotta see 2 hands for free unless somebody gets eliminated. Somebody might get eliminated. So no queen. There was only 3 queens in the deck at that point. So that's all right. All right, 940. Here we go, break. I just want to play hands, so I'll play that at the other table. They should raise almost every time in this scenario. Just a little cheeky raise. Whether they have it or not. That's a little chips, how they're sitting out. That's kind of nice. So when somebody's sitting out, you want to always try to steal their blinds. Get away with it. Because they're not going to be fighting for it, right? Nice, they caught me bluffing. I got to pull the parachute now. So I'm getting pretty decent pot odds. Like, I hate making this call though. Normally I'd fold there. That's exactly why. That's exactly why. Because of that. 3 reasons why. Almost 100% of the time I folded. But all 3 of my opponents were in there, right? So I was partially invested. So I was getting decent pot odds. Because 150 chips, I could have won, 750 off my opponents overall. So it's a pretty good, every 1 chip I was risking I could win 5. So all you gotta do is try to make it simple math. There we go. Well, I don't like it, but I'm going with it. Yeah, I didn't like that at all. I hung in there for a bit. So here we go. There's another tournament done. And then I'll go with another city goal. There we go. So I'll exercise one of my freedoms in Canada, one of my human rights. Being able to smoke legal cannabis. And there's no declination in my ability to play poker when I win tournaments when I smoke cannabis. And in fact, for me personally, it's different for everybody. Everybody has a different response to any type of things that could be considered medication, as cannabis does have a medicinal element within it. It's great for cancer. Like it kills cancer cells apparently. And if you have chemotherapy, one of the problems with chemotherapy is you can't eat without wanting to vomit, and marijuana is good for it stops you from vomiting and it as much, and it makes you hungry. And so these 200-pound people that end up dying of cancer, like 120 pounds, they're less likely to have it deteriorate as easily for the disease, which is fantastic for people. And ovarian cancer, apparently it's good for ovarian cancer. And apparently it could be uterine as well, right? Like do research, just search online, any search, and be like, which type of cancers has cannabis been attributed to alleviate some of the symptoms, and maybe regress part or all of the disease. Do some research. But it's good. Like, gives you the munchies, they say, right? So if you're trying to gain weight, then you live in Canada, especially somewhere where it's legal. Okay, so do they have the 10? They most likely do in this area. When you have pocket nines, they always seem to have the 10 with ace 10. So let's see what they have. Ace 10. Yeah, we'll see. So it looks like I finished ninth. I don't normally finish ninth. So I guess I'm going to end this video because I'm going to be starting a tournament soon in another city goal. So it'll be a good time for another video. Anyways, go to change.org/you could be a hero and rise up and save mankind by eliminating brain-computer interface ability to steal human attributes and hijack and violate the human experience.